I cannot believe it, but it's been nearly 4 years since Volkswagen debuted the ID.4. That is a long time, and the car has gone through some pretty major changes for the 2024 model year. Isn't that right, Case?
Absolutely, and some of the most dramatic changes they've made on this car come down to the actual performance figures, because they've increased the range and increased the horsepower, which is a pretty cool magic trick.
Yeah, and we also have new tech on the inside. We've got some charging things that we're going to talk about, and we're going to do all that in this fantastic video. We're going to go start on the outside, talk about some of the mechanical changes, jump on the inside, talk about some of the software and electronic changes, and then get this thing on the road, and maybe even stop at a charger where you can play with some of the cool new features in the ID.4.
Exactly. Now, diving right into some of the changes that they've made with this vehicle. They've improved the stator here in this drive unit, and they've done a lot to improve the cooling system as well. So there's a new oil and water cooling system, a new heat sink, and a new inverter, which all combines for a setup that's going to be more efficient, even though you are putting out quite a bit more power, quite a bit more acceleration.
I mean, it's a lot more power. So what we're looking at here is the rear-wheel drive ID.4 Pro S. Now for 2023, this rear-wheel drive car would have had a single motor on the rear axle that made 201 horsepower. Now for 2024, the same configuration with the new drive unit makes 282 horsepower. That's an 81 horsepower bump. And what does that mean for 0 to 60?
That means your 0 to 60 number is 5.9 seconds instead of 7.7 seconds on this rear-wheel drive model, which is almost a 2-second improvement. And if you go for the all-wheel drive, it goes from 5.7 seconds in the old car down to 4.9. So it's a pretty huge difference.
Unreal. And the torque number, even on the single-motor rear-wheel drive car, is over 400.
Yeah, 402.
Jeez, dude.
And the all-wheel drive model gets 335 horsepower, so it's pretty impressive. But what impresses me the most is that this rear-wheel drive model is now almost as fast as the old all-wheel drive.
That's a good point, Case. And the range has gone up as well. So this vehicle for 2023 was rated at 275 in this configuration of EPA-rated range. And what's this new one?
Now it's 291 in the rear-wheel drive configuration. And then before, with the all-wheel drive, you had 255 miles of range rated. Now it's 263. So range improvements to both models, but it's really this rear-wheel drive, both in acceleration and range, that see the most dramatic improvements.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to get this out on the road in a second and see what it drives like with that new performance drive unit. Now let's talk about the design elements, Case. Not a ton has changed from a design standpoint. So we do have this now becoming signature headlight design for the Volkswagen ID products with these spectacles that kind of outline the headlight. And then that LED pattern continues through the center of the vehicle to the center mounted illuminated badge. And here, let me jump in. We're gonna fire it up. Let's see if you can actually see that come into life.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it flickers on a little bit, and that Volkswagen logo being illuminated is pretty cool, especially at night. And it does the same thing around the back.
Yeah, so you know, a lot of manufacturers now are illuminating the emblem in the front, but to do so in the rear is pretty unusual. Now, coming along the side, Case, let's stop and talk about the wheels for a second. So this being the Pro S, we're rolling on a set of 235/50 R20-inch wheels with this kind of aero profile, so you can see it is a mostly filled-in wheel with just some small gaps. But if you were to spec, for example, like the Pro S plus the top line for 2024, you can spec it with 21. So that's a big wheel in a small crossover.
Yeah, which is a very big wheel. And then there's something interesting around the back here, right, Tommy?
Yeah, so this is one of, I think, Case, maybe only 2 or 3 new cars for sale in the US to come equipped with rear drum brakes. Now, Volkswagen will tell you that because this car has regen, you really don't need the same braking performance, especially on the rear, to slow this car down. And those drum brakes, according to Volkswagen, or what I've heard in the past, are a way to kind of maybe add some environmental savings into the car as well, because you're not releasing brake dust out into the wild. Instead, it's captured in this drum, and then you simply throw it away when it's time to replace the pads.
Which I would imagine is a pretty minimal difference, but it's also interesting given that this is a heavy car.
Yeah, 4,694 pounds as spec'd. It's a pretty heavy car.
Yeah.
So 4,700 pounds. I guess they're really not pads, are they? They're more drum shoes. So it's kind of an old school thought.
Exactly, pretty interesting.
Now, this is a Chattanooga built car made right here in the USA. And one of the ways you can tell some of the older foreign built cars compared to the US spec cars is you actually look at the curve along the rear bumper. And this curve is different on the Tennessee built cars compared to the German built cars.
Takes a keen eye to figure that out.
Yeah, you really got to be looking. And then out back here, kind of that continuous light bar design makes its way to the rear as well. And ID.4 badging in white. What do you think of that, Case?
I think it looks good. It's good contrast with this gray. And then this at night lights up red, doesn't it?
Yeah, here, we'll show that. I bet we can probably trick that
that
to come
will probably
on.
be easier to see than on the front. Oh yeah, that's cool.
Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that design a lot. Now, some other things worth noting, Case. The ID.4 has never had a front trunk.
Yeah.
Volkswagen, would probably make the argument that you can fit everything you need in the rear trunk. Why include a front? And indeed, that is the case on the new ID.4.
Yeah, so we've just got a couple fluids in here. For some people, not having a front trunk is a big knock against, but for other people, it's not so big of a deal.
You know, we've owned a bunch of Teslas at this point, Model 3, Model Y, that have had that front trunk, and to be honest with you, I always forget it's there, and I rarely found myself using it. So it's not a big deal for me. You also have like what the Hyundai Kia groups are doing with the front cubby, the frubby.
Yeah.
Which is like even worse than just not having one in some ways. But that is definitely worth noting. But Case, let's do this here. I'll take the camera from you and let's kind of check out some of the features on the inside, at least the front seat of the ID.4.
Yeah, because there are some really nice updates that have made their way into this interior.
First of all, we got the electronic door handle. So you stick your hand into this little pocket and then you pull up on this little rubber pad. And that's actually what engages the mechanism. There's no mechanical outside lever there. And on the inside, this is the big news, my dude.
Yeah, this is a 12.9-inch screen, and it is angled toward the driver, so you have a more driver-centric cockpit, very minimalist dash setup. Really almost no hard buttons at all. You do have these climate sliders right here, which is not everybody's favorite thing. What do you think, Tommy?
Well, I think Volkswagen got a lot of heat when they launched the ID.4 with the initial version of the infotainment system. And once again, they got rid of all the buttons altogether. I was kind of hoping for the 24 update that we'd see some physical controls come into play. What they've done instead is they've backlit the sliders, so they're now backlit at night. Volume is also a slider there in the middle. And then they've added some permanent fixtures to that new 12.9-inch screen. So for example, the climate control is now always where you'd expect it, along the bottom. You don't have to go into a sub-menu to find it. Same thing with like your, check that out, ventilated seats.
Yeah. Which, it's nice that that is dedicated and you don't have to go through other menus to pull that up, but it would be nice to see some hard buttons. And what this a lot of times feels like is a bit of cost saving. The same thing here with your window controls. Obviously, this is old news. It's been like this for a long time, but either your front or your rear windows are controlled through here. It's just a little bit more of a clunky process. But that being said, this is a beautiful screen. It's high resolution, great contrast. It's big too. 12.9 is pretty huge. Really big, yeah, and the colors are fantastic. I really think that Volkswagen has done a, oh, you want to turn the ignition on? Yeah. You can also, that's a nice feature too. Yeah. You don't have to push the button. You can just put your foot on the brake to turn the car on. E-traction charging with the K. But look at the colors on that screen. It looks spectacular. Hopefully that comes through on video. And there's some great functionality built into this. They've put the owner's manual into the screen, so if you want to pull up some of those features, you can. That's not a win for me, getting rid of the physical. I know I'm an old man, but I do like my paper owner's manual. Yeah, and something else that's pretty cool is the way that this navigation system is put together. So if we decide to route back to Boulder, Colorado, where our offices are, and we hit start, limited access road. We can actually. Your route has multiple necessary charging stops. We get it. One or more non-preferred chargers are being used to plan the route. But anyway, this is pretty cool because, like some other electric cars, but always a nice feature to have, this will actually map out where you want to charge at. So our first charger that we would stop at, we would get there with 24% battery, charge up to 78%, and it would take, this is estimating, around 30 minutes.
Now this case is such a big deal. So the fact that it now has route planning instead of just navigation, right, with these integrated features, but it also has on-route battery preconditioning. So the battery, when you get to Mesquite, Nevada at 10%, is going to be warm and ready to accept the peak charge rate of, in this case, 175 kilowatts. So it's got the battery planning. You can see from Pasadena back to Boulder, it's only having a stop at the 350 kilowatt chargers, which is fantastic. Really, really like that. You can even show it on the map there. So clearly, it's having us go to EA stations. Volkswagen does have a partnership with EA stations. I think it's 500 kilowatt hours of free charging and a 3-year EA pass as well. So they nailed that, and the on-route battery preconditioning is just huge, dude.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people, especially in ICE cars, use their phones to navigate, but that in an EV is a super useful feature, especially because, to your point, it does precondition the battery. So that's just going to be the most convenient way for you to plan out a road trip in one of these.
And I really feel like that, you know, Volkswagen has paid attention to their consumer base, and the big concern from day one of ID.4 ownership was the technology, the screen interface, and some glitchiness surrounding the screen interfaces, to be honest. Now, it's taken them a couple of years, but they've really done some great things in here. I also like this screen, so optimization. So look, we're at a pretty high state of charge right now. We're at 89%, and I like this optimization screen. It gives you the knowledge you need to know how fast your car is going to charge when you plug in. So it says current quick charging potential, 39 kilowatts.
Yeah, and it also tells you if you do start optimizing, how long it's going to take for you to reach that optimal temperature for you to charge at, which is all really good information.
It said based on the state of charge, we can peak at 51, and it's going to take us 19 minutes to get there. Really, really great. And if we go to charge locations, add current, oh no, we don't want to save this as a charging location, but we'll show that in a second here. Now, some other things in this screen case, let's see what else we got to play with here. Ooh. Let's check out seats. The front passenger seat can be adjusted using controls on the driver's seat as long as this view remains open. So if you hate having your passenger seat in that reclined position, that's kind of funny.
Interesting.
App Connect. Let's see, sound. You got sound. We have a new Harman Kardon audio system now in this vehicle, right? 9 speakers, if I recall.
Yeah, and a subwoofer, so pretty nice system. Yeah. And that's one of the updates for the 24 model year is the option of that premium audio system.
And these people seem to be enjoying it quite a bit.
Oh, quite a bit.
Look at that. We also have a pull-down menu here for some shortcuts left destination.
Yeah, so they've changed up this interface quite a bit.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. Assist systems, drive modes. Let's check that out. Comfort, Eco Sport. That's pretty standard. App Connect, auxiliary climate. Okay, so you can like kind of set a departure time if you want your car to be warm in the winter when you leave. Very, very nice. Ambient lighting.
Oh, they got different names too. Desire. That might be too much for us, Tommy. Let's say vital. Vitality.
Very, very cool. And then that's your little home button, so you can have the tiles there.
They've also changed up the layout here right directly in front of the driver. So before you had your drive selector here kind of attached to your instrument cluster. Now they've moved it down to the stock, which is a little more standard, but the action to actually do it is still pretty similar to what it was in the past. You still rotate this and you have a button to press on the outside. And then this instrument screen here, especially next to this big, beautiful 12.9-inch screen, this to me feels a little lacking. It's a very small display. What do you think?
It's a little tiny, you're right. Yeah, exactly right. It is configurable. You can kind of go through different panels here using these little controls on the steering wheel. But Case, that's a good point. It does look a little dinky. Yeah. At least it has one, like a Model Y doesn't have that at all.
Right.
So that's good.
Yeah, I'd much rather have that. Even our new Ineos Grenadier doesn't have that display. So there's definitely vehicles that are almost just moving away from having a center display in front of you at all, which is not my preference. But yeah, I don't know. Looking at those two things side by side, that's such a beautiful screen. I wish this was a little bit more impressive when you're seeing them side by side.
So center console wise, we got the dual cup holders here, Case. We do have a place to put your phone with this little clip, and then we've got dual USB-Cs through there.
Yeah, and then do you want to show the back seat?
Yeah, let's do that. Here, I'll give you give you the phone. Oh, one more thing, Case, I don't like on the inside. Show the door panel.
Yeah.
This is the worst place to put piano black. Why would you put it on the door handle?
I know, and too, especially the way that this car is spec'd, this interior is just a bit of a sea of black. There's a couple different shades of gray and black, so it's not completely all the same color, but I wish there was just a little bit more of a splash of some excitement in here.
Okay, a couple of great things back here. Even with the glass roof at 6 feet tall, pretty good headroom, maybe just glancing the top with my kind of rather tall hair, but not bad at all. Some nice kind of usability functions in here, which have remained from previous model years.
Yeah, you got 2 seat pockets, dude.
You got your phone pocket, you got your little iPad pocket there, USB-C ports back here, and a flat floor, so center passengers are going to have a good time. Couple cup holders down here, and even a ski pass-through case.
Yeah, which is pretty nice. This is the rear-wheel drive version, so I probably wouldn't take it skiing, but
Yep.
still got a pass-through.
We'll show how the seats fold there, and I do believe they fold completely flat.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah,
Not
if
quite.
you pop the trunk there, right? That's going to reveal that 30.3 cubic feet worth of space, 64 with the seats folded down.
Yeah.
Really nice. And then what do we got underneath the cargo floor here?
Yeah, just a little bit of extra space. Maybe you want to throw your charger in there.
Oh, check that out. And is this
What do
seat
we got?
included?
Tire mobility kit or something? Oh, no.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
that is,
it is
yep.
a tire mobility kit.
Yeah.
Bummer. So no spare.
Yeah, which, especially being in Colorado and having some pretty remote places that are accessible to us, we do like having a genuine spare, even if it's just a compact. So,
All right, dude, I'll take the camera. Why don't you hop in, take us for a spin,
Oh, am I?
and we'll see what the new revised ID.4 is like out on the road.
Yeah.
And while you're doing that here, let's go ahead and try to plug in a charger into that standard navigation. So we're gonna go boop. So we were having this issue earlier with the. Okay. Oh wait, maybe it just did it. Maybe I was being too fast.
Yeah, so that's interesting because we know for sure there are chargers nearby us.
There we go.
There we go.
Just took a sec. So let's go to this 150 in Pasadena. Got 14 minutes to get there. 2.5 miles.
Now turn right.
Oh,
Sweet.
and also pretty cool, you can start to see this bar here on the dash that gives you a light signature with some indications of what direction you want to turn. There's quite a few things actually that are built into that light bar.
Yeah, really cool. And while we're charging here, let me see. Yeah, check that out. So it automatically started warming up the battery. And I believe even when we turn the car off by turning that nav. So we got that battery preconditioning on the way to that EA charger.
Yeah, and of course, because we're at such a high percentage right now, there's no way that we're going to go in.
Yeah, I don't know why it's making you go right to make a U-turn. We're going to go left here.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're at a pretty high state of charge, we're not going to be able to charge all that quickly, but what the peak rate on this car is about 175 kilowatts.
Yep, that's right, Case.
And they say 10 to
Please turn
80%
left
in
at the
around
road towards I-210
30
Ventura.
minutes, 33 minutes.
Can we shut her up? Oh, no.
Oh boy,
I
oh
just
now
did
you've
a
done
terrible
it.
thing,
Oh
Case.
boy. Well, I know we got to make a left after that.
After that, we're screwed. Oh, no. I done really screwed that up. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so
Now turn left towards I-210 Ventura.
So I've got the sticker here, Case. So as specs, $49,995. Destination charge is $14.25. So we're looking at $51,420.
yeah, and so starting pricing on these, including destination, is going to
Please
be
turn
right
left at
around
the traffic light
$41,000. There we go.
There you go. You
Ha.
got her.
Starting pricing on these is going to be right around $41,000 for that 62 kilowatt hour battery car, and you can spec these all the way up to around about $60,000 if you go for a top of the line all-wheel drive model with all the bells and whistles.
And I think Volkswagen likes to advertise a starting price of under 40, but realistically, after destination,
Yeah.
you're going to be around that $40,000 mark. So we're looking at here $51,420. Now this one is in pure gray with the Galaxy interior, a leatherette interior. Some interesting things worth noting, as we talked about, this is the 82 kilowatt hour unit. It's about $4,000 extra if you want to get the all-wheel drive over the rear-wheel drive car. Range, as we mentioned, 291 miles on this spec. Yeah, pretty typical stuff here. Nothing really popping out of me that really needs to be discussed.
Yeah, and it used to be that the all-wheel drive model was so much quicker than the rear-wheel drive that even if you didn't live in a snowy climate, you might want to get the all-wheel drive just for that acceleration. But now here in the rear-wheel drive, let's give it a little burst of acceleration. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely pushes you back in your seat a little bit, but we're not. Here, let's go into a sport mode. There we go. That's going to help. All right.
Whoa!
Oh, yeah. There it is.
What a difference.
Yeah. So it actually makes a noticeable difference. I'll go back to the navigation screen because I have no idea how to get around Pasadena. But, yeah, pretty impressive acceleration. We're within 0.2 seconds, 0 to 60 in this car as compared to the old all-wheel drive model. So it's really good acceleration.
I mean, I really think that this makes this car a lot more fun to drive compared to the old rear-wheel drive, which was very adequate. I'm a real slow driver, but even 7.5 seconds was fine. But this now that we're in the mid-fives,
more than adequate. Yeah, if you want to be able to pass people in traffic, it'll 100% do that.
Dude, it really scoots. So it's a more fun driving experience. Now the rest of the car is very soft, I would say. The steering is very light. The suspension is a little squishy, but that's exactly what I'm looking for in my four-door crossover. I don't want it to be too firm.
Yeah. Now, should we talk about some of this car's competition? Because this is a really competitive segment. There's a lot of good vehicles in this category of EV.
Yeah, right. I mean, you got everything from the Hyundai Ioniq 5 to the Kia EV6. You have the Tesla Model Y, is of course one of the leaders. Ford Mustang Mach-E. Now we've got the Chevy Blazer EV. It's a really competitive space.
It is, and yeah, there's a lot to be said for some of those competitive cars. We've spent quite a bit of time with the EV6 and the Ioniq 5. We've really gotten to spend quite a bit of time with all of this car's competitors, and they're all really good.
BZ4X as well. I don't know if I would consider BZ4X over an ID.4, but yeah, look, it's a hugely aggressive place in the market that Volkswagen has entered the ID.4 in. Now they did have a pretty early first mover advantage, right? ID.4 came to the market, going on 3-4 years ago now. So they've been in the marketplace for quite some time, and I think that some of the changes they've made, especially to the tech, were very much needed. Yeah. But is it too little, too late? That's kind of the big question.
Yeah, exactly. I have some of the people that were maybe interested in this car and put off by some of those things. Have they moved on to different vehicles?
Now, Volkswagen does say that this is the 5th best-selling EV in the USA. So there are some pretty attractive, especially like lease deals now.
Yeah.
And of course, certain variants of ID.4, $7,500 tax credit, right?
Yeah. It is worth talking about that tax credit because these are built in that Chattanooga plant that you actually went and toured, didn't you?
Yeah, dude, it's an incredible thing to see these cars go down this assembly line because it is one of the biggest buildings I've ever experienced in my entire life. I mean, it is many, many baseball fields long and wide.
Yeah.
And seeing the car go from start to end. And it's cool too, that they are making these cars here in the USA, which I do find very admirable that, in an era when a lot of vehicles are now being manufactured abroad, that Volkswagen has brought ID.4 production to the States.
Yeah, and again, that potential of that $7,500 tax credit is a big deal. There's no overstating that. That could make this a much more affordable and viable option for a lot of people.
You're right. Nissan Ariya, just remembered another one in this class.
Yeah.
Honda Prologue.
Oh, God,
right?
There's so many.
That's
the thing.
Look, I think that this car has a lot of attractive features. I think at 51, sticker, especially for the rear-wheel drive, it's a little bit of an ask for me. And this car still, right, is using CCS in 2024. It hasn't gone to the new NACS port. All right, so somewhere this does not look like.
No, it doesn't. You think it's in this parking garage?
I bet it's in the parking garage. Yeah, let's give that a go. This video just got a lot more expensive. Parking in downtown Pasadena.
$11.
Friday after 5. $1 every 20 minutes. Oh my gosh, Case. $11 max. All right.
Oh man.
We'll give it a go.
It says there's an auto spa. The question is this video going to make $11?
We're really gonna be pushing whether or not this is gonna be a financially suitable video, and we might just be driving through a parking garage for no reason at all.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. Give me a ticket. There we go.
Really made it upset.
Yeah, I really did. It wasn't my intention.
Now, if I was not shooting on my phone, I would pull up my EA app.
I don't see chargers down there.
This may have just taken us into a parking garage for what point? Here's the auto spa.
And this is true to a little bit of the EV experience, right? If you're in an unfamiliar place, it's not uncommon to wander around a little bit trying to find a place to charge.
Right. I mean, it says we are 100 feet away, so I assume we're in the right spot.
I don't see chargers here at the auto spa.
Let me ask this guy.
This gentleman.
Hey man, are there EV chargers in this garage?
I think you're going to want to go up on the third floor, right-hand side.
Third
Okay.
floor, right-hand drive. Thank you.
All right, well, let's get turned around then.
Try out the turning radius in the ID.4. That actually, there's a car behind you too, just so you know.
Yeah.
That actually is one of the great things about this car. I do remember that from my initial drive, is the turning radius.
Maneuverability.
It's shockingly impressive.
Now we just got to find a place to
It's
hook
amazing
around.
how many people buy white Teslas in the state of California.
Yeah, like we said, we're in the Pasadena area.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'll throw on my hazard so this Lexus doesn't get stuck behind us while we turn around to try and...
It is a good time to demonstrate the ambient lighting here.
Yeah,
Across
this
the
is
underside of the
vitality. We stepped away from desire because that was not
It's
what
not
we
appropriate.
needed.
It's not TFL after dark yet.
No, that's also a very interesting name for a lighting signature. More suggestive, I guess, than I would imagine. Maybe not. Maybe that's just me.
Let's see how our
Camera system?
camera system, I was going to say battery is doing here.
Oh, okay.
Optimization, still at 12 minutes, but we've raised it from 39 kilowatts to a peak of 49. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I will say for this car too, and we were talking about it a little bit, but the ride quality going over those speed bumps, as well as your isolation from the environment outside is pretty good in this car.
Really good.
You do feel relaxed. And just it's not a burdensome thing to drive.
I agree completely. Oh, we got the automated parking system, Infinity Q45. That is a rare bird. We got the automated parking system, looking for spots as well as we make our way up.
Yeah, which you can see the light bar in front of us as part of that.
Oh
which
yeah, I do like that
pretty cool.
status bar. That is,
I think
that's
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do like that a lot. Now look, a lot of the EA stations in Colorado are going to be very, very available. I'm curious to see if we're going to have any traffic. Oh, it's seeing the
Oh,
spots.
yeah.
That's
See
cool.
That's pretty interesting.
Really interesting.
Now, what level are we on right now?
I say we just keep going up until
Yeah.
we either
Wondering
run
how-
out of garage or run into the charger.
Wondering how far.
It's not super well labeled here, is it?
No, it's not. It would be nice if they had a sign that said, "Hey, the
Hey,
chargers
you got
that
EA.
you're looking for are over here." We're certainly not the only people in California that are trying to charge an EV.
I would imagine not. Old Pasadena, by the way, is a very nice place. If you ever
Oh
have a
yeah,
chance to-
we saw some pretty unbelievable houses perched up on a hill right by the Rose Bowl, which is where we were when this video started.
Yeah, really, really nice.
Pretty
Okay.
incredible area. Although what's funny is that actually we left Colorado and came to California for slightly worse weather.
Yeah, we did. What the heck is going on in California? It's been raining here nonstop.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so this should be coming up on 3, I think, Case.
Yeah, this is captivating TV.
I know. Well,
If you were ever wondering what it would be like to be in the car with Tommy and I looking for an EV charger,
Oh,
this is
God.
what it's like. And we've got an Ioniq 5 here.
probably
and
waiting.
some chargers behind it. Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh man,
Look at that.
this.
Well, hey, half the cars that are there are ID4s in this exact same color, I think.
Maybe they're taking advantage of their free charging. And then we've got an Ioniq 6 and an XC40. All right, well, I think at this point, and we've got a EQS.
Oh yeah, someone actually bought an EQS.
I think at this point, Case, we're going to have to wait for the charging video back in our home state of Colorado.
Exactly, so why don't we pull into a space here and wrap this video up.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, so I think that Volkswagen has done a lot of the stuff that they need to do to keep the ID.4 competitive. And they've really been listening to their customer base. They have changed a lot of the things that they needed to change. And the one thing I really wanted to show you was the plug-in charge capability.
Yeah, which we can't do right now because that charger is taken up. But again, anytime that we see a car get faster accelerating quicker, and more range, that's a great combination. So I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, it's a win for me. Well, folks, we'd love to know what you guys think in the comments section below. As always, this has been Tommy.
And Case.
We'll see you on another episode. We got to go off, run to the airport to make our flight back home. But once we get one back in Colorado, we'll do all the charging stuff we promise. And we'll see you on another episode.